Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Live from Beyond. Tonight we're playing Eternal Lies. This is the second episode of the branch of the Bangkok chapter we're calling Gulf of Siam. My name is Kevin. It is October 3rd, 2017, and these guys are the players. Go ahead and do your thing.
All right, my name is Kim, and I will be playing Nicola Saliba, the thief.
I'm Nick, and I will be playing Janet Winston Rogers, the gracious benefactor.
I'm Dave, and I will be playing Jacob Rosbach, the cleric or clergyman, I suppose.
Fair enough. All right. So when last we left you guys, you had departed the I guess small town village of Patian, or Pattaya.
Atia.
And on a boat headed for Kokruk Island.
Nice.
So it's a small boat. We'll say we'll say it sort of motors along with a small outboard motor it's got on the back. And you guys are sort of cramped along in this small boat out as it sort of heads out onto the water. Out of the distance, you can see a speck of land in the distance among the waves in this gulf. Tell me, what are each of your? Describe the scene to me. Describe to me what your character looks like, what their demeanor is like in this moment. Also, I mean, I guess we hadn't specified last time, but what time of day would you guys set out?
I thought we did have a plan based on something. Was it?
Yeah, where are we going to go? Oh, no, we talked to the cousin.
Yeah.
And then
maybe we hadn't specified. I think it was nighttime, but then we could have left whenever we wanted to.
I imagine we would leave in the morning, right? So we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
This doesn't sound like the type of trip you want to make at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not sailors exactly. We don't know anything about
some island where like nobody lives with no docks. Yeah.
Well, nobody lives there for long.
I imagine
that nobody ever leaves.
I imagine we would set out early morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. First
Fair
light.
enough. All right. Okay. Cool. So, again, describe to me what your character's demeanor is like. Are you talking to the other characters? What are you guys doing during this voyage?
Janet is avidly conversing with a myriad crew of folks, none of whom seem to really be present. I mean, she's talking to Richard Sterling and Frank Kearns and Damon Smoke and the ghost of
Frank Kearns is there.
Oh, well,
who do you think is sailing the boat?
He's asleep, so like. Janet Winston Rogers is doing. She essentially feels like Nicola Saliba and Jacob Rosbach are now like essentially in her employ because they're part of this group. So she's kind of like somewhere between getting to know them and mentally negotiating their salary.
Okay.
She's chatting up these guys.
Okay. What are the rest of you guys?
Well, I guess when Jacob's not being pestered by Janet, he's kind of just huddled in. I guess I don't believe this ship has a. Does this ship have a below deck? I don't think it does. I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It's a very small fishing boat.
Yeah, he's just kind of huddled at the forefront of the boat and is in prayer.
Okay.
All right, and Nicola's in kind of like surprisingly good spirits. This like fishing boat kind of reminds him of when he like first started smuggling stuff off and on to Malta. They kind of had to use a similar thing, so he's kind of reminded of his youth when things were a little simpler and the world wasn't being slowly taken over by monsters from beyond time and space. So he's kind of enjoying the wind through his hair, the blue ocean, and trying his best to ignore Janet Winston Rogers.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, you guys, as you sort of voyage across this, it's about 6 miles away. A light rain starts to fall. There's a very small, like maybe one person can fit in it. Like I guess you would call it a cabin on the boat. Like it's just basically the smallest possible.
Pooper.
Was it what?
I said it's the pooper.
No, I think you just
I don't
hang
think that's
your ass over the side of the boat.
Anyways, the sea sort of starts to pick up a little bit, and the boat's sort of rocking back and forth as you sort of approach the island. You're about maybe half mile away from shore. What is your guys? Tell me, set the scene. Tell me what you guys are talking about. What are you guys saying to each other?
So, Janet's like, Jacob has recently finished a prayer, and Janet's kind of like astutely inquiring about his faith. Like Jacob, you're surprised at how not stupid the questions are.
Well, give me a question.
That's not how we role play here.
Miss Winston Rogers, you are clearly a woman of faith yourself with questions like that, no?
Exactly. Thank you, Jacob. Oh, well done for the GM's sake and his ridiculous demands. I say yes. I have studied. I've studied many cultures, and many cultures have many religions. Thus, I have studied them as well. But
is there one that you consider your own?
To be honest, Mr. Rospech, I having seen the things that I saw and knowing what I've sent people to do, I haven't really been able to stomach any of the religions I thought before might hold water for me. It all seems so hollow.
To me, in these times where everything seems so fake, it is the most important to cling to what we truly believe in. I understand that not everyone has faith as I do, but seeing what I have seen in the past several weeks, my faith has only grown stronger that God must have a plan. For if not, I shudder to think it, the fate that lies for us all.
Well, I suppose I should say I admire your faith, but perhaps I'm just too jaded. The only thing I have faith in now is our own actions. For if God's plan involved the death of that poor man, Gus Allen, and that wonderful old antiquarian Fritz Dreckner, and my God, the horrible things that happened to that beautiful, talented, and clearly going places up-and-coming actress Kitty Kennedy.
Who?
If those were in God's plans, then I don't think I'd like to be a devoted follower of that God.
My thoughts and prayers are with all your lost loved ones. And Jacob kind of goes and vomits over the side of the boat because of the rocking. It's a little. He's not much of a seafarer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say if we're getting this close to the island,
sure.
I would maybe suggest to my compatriots, I'd say, Mr. Saliba, do you not think it wise that we cut the engine and perhaps make our final approach a bit more stealthily?
Do we see anything on the island?
Sure. So does anybody have what would be geography?
Yes.
You
name it, and I'll put a point in it. I mean, I have it.
I'm not actually sure there is a geography.
No, there isn't geography. There's geology. Okay, I thought maybe there's something more.
I actually have a point in geology.
Nobody
No, I totally
cares.
do. I do.
Right.
I got the
Looks
sheet.
looks sort of blank when I look at it.
No, it's definitely not. You're a liar.
There's like
Oh, you filled out the
outdoorsman.
second page. Okay, I was looking at the first page where it is literally blank.
Oh no, I put it on that second page because that's where you had put Marcelin.
No,
He
that
wasn't on the
that
first
makes sense.
page.
That makes sense.
So
That's
I
fine.
put it there.
There's
Okay, so
outdoorsman. I think is maybe.
There's outdoorsman, which I do not have yet.
sure. I mean, I think
I don't have it either,
outdoorsman-
so it doesn't matter. I'm just
Does anybody
saying
here-
that might be the appropriate skill for, I don't
It
know,
might be.
outdoorsy stuff.
is
Richard
that
Sterling
that's
had a lot
general
of
skill?
points in outdoor.
Oh no, it's okay.
No, it's
Okay, so
We reset all
yeah,
of our
Richard
skills,
Sterling
right?
is the old- Yeah. All right, so you see the island. It's quite large. You can see it's rather unevenly shaped. There are like sort of peaks and valleys in it. I mean, it's very uneven in terms of elevation. Up towards the center of the island, you can see the outline of what looks like a large structure, like some sort of mansion or almost like a castle. It looks to be like mostly overgrown, for what you can see. Maybe not completely overgrown, but like at least partially overgrown.
Mhm.
And you can see a couple areas in the island, sort of towards the interior, that look a little less forested than the outer rim. And you see stretching out, sort of about halfway around the island, what looks to be a small dock, which appears to just, face right into the forest.
So
How-
from where we're looking, does it look like the house is inhabited, or it looks like overgrown and abandoned?
Um,
Do we have
I was-
binoculars? Or like
I don't know. Do
telescope?
you guys have binoculars?
I said that I got all sorts of outdoorsman-y
Oh,
supplies.
all
Can
right.
we use
Well,
guns as binoculars? Because I think we have plenty
That's
of those.
does
not
anyone
how. That's
want
not
to
how
spend
guns
a
work.
point of
Sure,
preparedness?
I will spend a point in preparedness to
Oh my
say that I have.
god!
the
Look at this
binoculars.
guy. Look at this preparedness.
Well, somebody gave me a stupid book. Gave me like 1,000 points of everything, so I was like, all right.
Sure, blame the book.
I didn't need 65 points. Yeah, all right.
You
I
have
spent a point
65 points in
preparedness.
preparedness.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Of
So
Why have
Jen and Winston
any-
Rogers-
Why have any skill actually other than preparedness? I'm sure you
No,
could like
I mean,
really
yeah.
solve any given
like,
problem with
I spent
preparedness.
2 points of preparedness, and I remember the class I took on explosives. Done.
so describe to me the binoculars that you have. JW1.
So I mean, they're pretty simple, right? I mean, I went to like the store in Pattaya, which is like the general store / grocery store / like bait store / clothing store. It's like everything, right? They've only got the one store. And I went in and I bought like the most adventure-y kind of stuff I could find, but their binoculars were like pretty old. They were probably like, a long time ago, in some like soldier's field kit. So they're like,
Right.
20 years old.
Mhm.
They don't exactly zoom all that much, but once you creak them into place, you can still see through the glass just fine.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Get the job done.
Oh yeah. So you pull out your binoculars. Just as Nicola, asks, does anybody have any binoculars? So
Yeah, I hand them to Nicola and I say, take a look.
All right, yeah, I will. I'll try to see if we can spot anything of this man.
So what? Oh, so you're looking directly at the mansion?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you look at the mansion, you can see it doesn't look like it's completely overgrown. You don't see anybody on it, but let's say if you had to guess, you would say that like either someone has been inhabiting it like recently, as in like in the past couple of years, right? Like it's not overgrown enough to be completely abandoned.
How big is the island?
It's probably about 1.5 miles long, from what you can see.
Pretty big.
And from where we can see, there's just the one dock.
Yep.
How decrepit does the dock look?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You're pretty far away, actually. It's hard to see the dock in anything more than just silhouette.
All right.
I
Well,
don't know,
I
so
imagine
my-
that's the spot we should head for.
I was
So I
gonna
guess-
say I would just go for the dock because I don't know. If anybody's like watching us, they're gonna see us coming up anyway. So there's no reason to try to like risk the boat trying to get off in some like jagged rocks or something.
Yeah, and
Sure.
we want a solid place to like tie the boat up, right? So like the dock is that option.
From where we are, can we see whether there's any other boats docked?
So you're using the binoculars to like scope out the dock.
Yeah.
So so as you look at the dock through the binoculars, you can see what you can make out is at the end of the dock appears to just like there's like a section of dock that, for lack of a better term, like is a solid line, and then there are like posts clearly at the end where you assume there was more dock, and there is no longer.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
So it looks like this is in some state of disrepair.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
You can't see any of the boats there. Yeah, but as you kind of scan the island with your binoculars, you notice kind of sticking out along the shoreline, sticking out from the jungle, is a large shape that you might guess could be the hull of another ship.
That's
Is it on the
unlocked.
island?
Yep.
On land.
Mhm.
The hull of like a large ship.
Hard to tell from this distance. It doesn't look small.
The lost ones.
It's clearly larger than your ship.
You said it's up on land near where the dock is?
No, not particularly close to the dock. Pretty far down the shore.
Okay.
Do we want to try to swing by there before we go dock?
I don't think so.
Well, is it more accessible from the land or from the water?
I'm sure it itself is more accessible from the land. I say that we want to like get to the dock, make sure we have the dock secure and the boat tied up before we worry about what else is on this island.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All
But
right,
I repeat, I think we should like drift in or row in or whatever, and as we get closer to the dock, maybe Nicola can scope it out a little better as that comes into our main site.
yeah, I mean, I'll keep an eye out as we get closer, but yeah, I'll just tell the captain, dock.
Our captain's just like Damon Smoke, and he's like a foot away from you.
Okay. So hold on, let me bring this picture in. So you approach the dock. As you get near, you can see what looks like I said, like the end of the dock is clearly has fallen into disrepair, has been swept away or worse. But you know, some distance down there is enough spot that you could tie the boat up. Yeah.
Are we getting a new picture?
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Okay.
Anything else around the dock?
Picture. I lost the picture.
All right, don't worry about
Oh,
it.
here it is.
We
Okay.
can use our.
You guys are gonna, I assume, get out and
Yeah, we'll just kind
It
of
is-
look around the immediate area.
this is actually just a picture of shoreline. This is not a picture of the dock. So maybe it wasn't that important for me to get it up. But anyways, okay. So you tie the boat up. You get out. You can see that the dock is clearly in a heavily disrepaired. The side of it that is near the jungle is actually what looks to be like a concrete or stone
Okay.
like fortification, or
So we're not in danger of like the boat coming loose and drifting away any second.
well, so as it extends out to the water, it's mostly wooden, and obviously, like I said, as the farther it goes out, the worse state it
Right.
gets in before it is functionally no longer a dock and just pillars of wood in the water.
Do we need to do anything silly to like make sure we can get back to our boat? Is kind of my point. Like if we step onto the dock, is it like crumbling beneath our feet? That kind of thing.
No. I mean, it's you can, like I said, the worse you go out, the worse state of repair it's in.
Yeah.
But you can tie it up relatively close to the shore side.
Yeah.
And it looks fairly stable. Okay.
If it's a dock meant for larger boats, I imagine we could get pretty
our
far
little
close to
dinghy is
the.
fine.
Yeah.
So what else is around?
So you can see that the dock more or less extends straight into the jungle. It doesn't look like there's really much of a path or much. Even the sort of stonework and concrete foundation that is the anchor of the dock on the island is nearly completely overgrown.
As
Nobody's used
the
this for a while.
1932 crow flies, how far away is the mansion from us?
So the mansion was up in the hills. You can't even see it from here anymore.
Yeah, I know, but like without knowing the path, do we have some rough idea of how far away it was? Are we talking like the other end of the island, or like
Not maybe. I mean, sort of towards the center of the island, maybe 3/4 of a mile.
Okay.
Okay, so it's on like a hill then, compared to the rest of the island.
Yeah.
Is the
Okay.
island just one big hill?
It is very irregularly shaped, right? So there are ridges. It's sort of you imagine it's probably at one point a volcanic island. It is, there are peaks that are quite high compared to the rest of the island, and kind of
your
ridges that come
standard
down.
creepy island?
Sure, yeah.
It's in the shape of a skull.
Yeah. Look, the,
Well, the
the
skull
island's
eating a
called
piece of pizza.
Los Cinco Muertos.
So
Is the boat closer to the shore where we are, the one that's on the land, than the houses?
You don't think it's probably very much closer, but it might be easier to find by virtue of it, being along a major geologic formation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know if you would call a shoreline a geologic formation, actually, but
is
it
there
would be along the shoreline.
are there any
I have a point in geology. I'll allow it.
are there any structures in like the harbor? Or is it just
So
a
you
dock?
can't really see very far into the island. Like I said, the overgrowth is quite thick where the dock meets the land. So you guys would have to investigate.
Yeah, man, I
I'll
don't know that these people like had visitors or anything, even when the island was inhabited. So I don't know that this dock was intended to be anything more than just like where they put their boat, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
if they
but there
needed,
might
like-
still be like a boathouse or some tool.
I
Something,
guess.
right? Like I mean, if it's 3/4 of a mile up a hill through thick jungle to the house, I imagine there has to be something around.
That's fair. I mean,
There
why don't
may
we
be.
take a look? We could.
Yeah. No, I mean, as soon as we pull up, Nicola will jump onto the dock and go check out the immediate.
Yeah, I think we should just do a little circle sweep.
Okay. Sure. So you as you kind of you step onto the dock, you sort of part the vines of the jungle. You can see a very small I'm going to call it a clearing, but that's the wrong word. This is just a sort of pocket inside the jungle. There's a canopy overhead. It looks like this was once the beginning of a road, as evidenced by the remains of a rusted out automobile that is sitting next to a small shack. On the ground, a few yards away from the automobile, you can see what looks like a mostly decomposed corpse.
Can we tell how old the car is?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you want to. So, I mean, I assume you sort of part the vines. You see this. Tell me, like, give me a better description of what you guys are each doing. Are you approaching? Who's in front? There's a sort of a tension in the air as soon as you part the vines. The sounds of the jungle quiet down as your presence becomes noted, and you feel quite the outsider in this place.
I don't know. I think Nicola, like, it's definitely like there's kind of like a air of tension over the whole thing, but because it all seems so abandoned, I don't think Nicola is expecting, like, I don't know, cultists to come running out of the jungle. This seems like it's been abandoned. I don't know. Whoever was here, we missed them, but we might as well check it out.
Okay.
Janet feels a little bit more. Janet's a little more on edge, especially after the cousin's story about what happened just recently out here. So like as Jacob like steps on a twig, she like hastily turns to him and shushes him strongly because she feels that silence like coming around. She doesn't want to be the one making noise out here.
Yeah, so let's check out this corpse. What any obvious cause of death?
Sure. So as you step up to the corpse, you can see that the first thing you notice immediately is that it is only it's clearly been hacked apart. One of the legs is cut off above the knee, and you can see what probably remains of it a few feet away. There's a deep cut in the shoulder, and another on the other side. The hand is removed and you can't find it anywhere.
Is
also
this skeletal?
Yeah, so it's not a skeleton?
No, it's mostly decomposed. It's still got like wormy, rotting, putrid flesh on it.
Is there any way we can like kind of sort of tell how long it's been dead? Does anybody have like?
Yeah, I'm no doctor. I don't know. Like
I've got points in medicine.
Of Kokrook Island, like
I'll spend a point in medicine.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So you spend a point in medicine. Jacob, you sort of lean down and begin inspecting the body. The smell is it's bad, but you determined that in the jungle, this corpse could not have been here for more than at most a couple of months. Probably
10 minutes.
Probably not longer than 1 month.
Okay.
Fuck. Okay.
I'll tell Nicola and Janet. But
let me continue there. As you sort of like search through the corpse, you open the chest, and your eyes catch a hint of movement. Sorry, you don't open the chest. Sorry, you open the shirt that is on the chest.
Okay.
Just pry the guy's ribcage
let me just
apart.
take a little peek inside.
Jacob's like a couple of points in medicine. He's actually just like, yeah, whatever. I play with cadavers.
Guys, it's easy. You grab his heart. You just count the rings.
God,
that's how old his corpse is.
That was pretty terrifying for a moment.
I'll take a little peek under the hood here. All right. Sorry. You pull back his shirt, and your eyes catch a flicker of movement, and you can see a long, toothy scar along his breast that moves very, 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 very slowly, opening and closing.
But it looks like not in good shape.
No,
Jacob.
I'm not sure to answer that question.
Back upon seeing that, and
yeah, so I think that's a stability test for sure.
At the chest scar, and motions for Janet and Nicola to take a look.
So it's like worm ridden, but it is still slowly moving. But like I said, that's a stability test. Rotting mouth, body mouth
for everyone.
Yeah, unless you're like actively doing something else.
I mean, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, I think I was out of stability from our last go. Did we get any of that?
Oh,
I think at the start of an adventure, you can do something to get your stability back, right? You can like talk to a source of stability and roll a d6 maybe or something like that. Did we do that when we started Gulf of Siam?
Well, I didn't really have time. Also, all my sources of stability are in Europe.
So no, we refreshed stability at the start of Siam, but obviously not sanity. Okay, so Jacob is all right. Who's Kitty?
Fuck off.
How the fuck did a cat get in here?
Nicola is okay too.
my
Okay,
God,
so you guys
it's
are all
Kitty's
fine.
Corpse.
You know, rotting body mouths.
I've seen
Fine.
so many mouths on
I've seen
people
'em.
by now. Like really.
Oh, you're right. Another mouth. Really? Is that what it is? Okay. As you sort of inspect the clothing, though, Jacob, you can tell that this is what looks to be like an old, tattered military uniform.
Interesting.
So by the way, if he's gonna summon us over to look at this, and we're gonna reel back and then be stabilized, Janet's just gonna like instantly chop at it with a machete.
Oh, okay.
I'll try to hold
Sure.
her back.
Okay, you
a
guys.
tender embrace.
Yeah, I don't know. If she like raises her machete to hack at it, I'll try to grab her arm and stop
Sure.
her. Be like, no, don't.
Yeah, sure.
What are you doing?
There's no other course of action with these mouths. My God, have you all been coddling these on your adventures? Is that why it's taking so long?
I believe it's already quite dead.
But it's
Mr.
moving.
Rogers.
It's moving, you fool. The mouth can't be allowed to survive.
We need to figure out where this came from. Hacking at it haphazardly with a machete isn't going to help us. Try to stay professional.
We can burn the body later, but first we must learn what we can from it.
But the mouth. My God, man.
Can't you see the poor man's already been chopped up? Big slashing at it with a machete will.
I'm not worried
make it
about
any
this
worse?
empty shell. I'm worried about the mouth, damn it. The mouth.
As Mr. Rosspatch said, we'll burn the body once we're done with it.
So, very well, you fools, but believe what you want. It's no good leaving that thing alive.
Miss Winston Rogers, if you can't keep your cool, maybe you should stay in the boat.
I say, Mr. Saliba, I don't know who you think you are dealing with, but I will not be spoken to in this way, and I will not be staying on the boat. But go ahead and play with the mouth as you will. I've lost several of my employees already. Perhaps they were just as foolhardy as you.
Perhaps. Perhaps this is just the first time you're getting your hands dirty.
Fair enough.
My hands are very clean. You're shocked at how clean they are, just considering we've been traipsing
Shockingly
the
clean.
Siamese jungle.
Literally the hands of a baby.
Can I tell what like is it look like it's Siamese military or can I identify?
It's too tattered to actually tell. In fact, you don't find any insignias at all. It just seems like it's
What?
It's
What military would be around here, Jacob? I guess you would know that, right? Like,
Siam has a military. Siam is thus far independent.
yeah, but I mean, would they have just been like around?
Well, if somebody was trying to build a road, it's possible it was a government operation that involved the military.
Yeah, it could very well be a military installation.
That's
So
fair. Let's look at the car then.
we check through right, but before we move on, we don't find anything else in his clothes. Kind of
Nope.
ID, nothing, no documents.
Not really. Nope. In fact, as you kind of look through his clothing, you notice that he's not, shall we say, like particularly well dressed. He just is wearing a jacket and a pair of trousers.
I'm grunt.
Does our
Well, you don't find any boots either.
does our doctor type person with his spend, can he tell roughly at all what caused the hacking damage to the body?
Some crazed lady with a.
Well, no, I mean, like, are we talking like he has no idea, or like he could tell the difference between this was like ripped apart versus like chopped apart with a knife versus like, you know?
No, I'm going to say the body is far too decomposed for that sort of analysis.
All right.
Yeah, let's have a
But
look.
I mean, these chops look deep. They do not see. They don't appear to be, like knife stabs.
So let's have a look at the car then.
Yeah. So you step over the car. It seems it's very rusted out. The roof is caved in. There's like sort of you can find foliage growing inside on the seats, and it looks like this is clearly never a car that will never ever work again. It's not even really a car. It's more just a hunk of metal that is rusted out that used to be a car.
Does
what
it seem
type of
possible?
car was it? Was this like
But
like a truck or
it looks like something between like a Jeep and a truck.
Does it seem possible that this car could have been here for just as short a time as this body?
I mean, I
could spend something. I'm just honestly.
So like mechanical repair, if you want.
Okay. I think I took that actually.
You can make a mechanical repair roll.
You know who had a ton of mechanical?
Who?
I have mechanical
Make a mechanical repair roll. All right. Do that. It's a 5.
Yeah, no. So this car has had to have been here for at least 5, more like probably 10 years.
Okay.
Is it like in the middle of the road?
There's not really a road, so it's hard to be in the middle of
I
it.
told you we wouldn't need roads where we were going.
I checked like the glove compartment. If there's any kind of identifying document that they might.
Sure. No, you pull up in the glove compartment. There's some like maps of other places in Siam, but nothing that particularly identifies it.
The dock we pulled up, it's big enough for like a car to drive on.
Mm-hmm. It looks like it.
Well, I mean, it would have to be, right? Because the car could basically only have gotten here by boat.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Unless they built the car here.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, but no.
Unless they drove the car.
I don't think there's any way that happened.
And there was like a hut or something like that, or a shack.
A shack, perhaps.
There was a shack. Yeah.
Let's check that out.
Let's check it out.
So who's investigating the shack? The shack has what looks like it's mostly wooden. You can see there's an overgrown roof and sort of a thick wooden door that hangs at a slight angle.
Pull it open.
Yeah.
So as you try to pull it open, you can see that there is a padlock on the top. It's just like a metal latch and a padlock on it that looks rusted.
And it's still like good enough that like vigorously pulling at the door doesn't come apart.
I mean, if you want to vigorously pull at it, that's fine.
Why don't you just like slam the lock with the butt of your gun or something like that?
I've seen that in movies. That works.
I mean,
if it's rusted.
I can certainly try to pick it, but I don't know. Yeah, I'll just try to like pull it real hard. Like if it's been sitting here for years and years and it's all rusted through, it might just come apart.
Okay, yeah. All right, so give me an athletics check. I'll say it won't be very hard to succeed.
How's your pulling hand feeling?
Pulling at about a 5.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
So, Nicola, you pull it, and it gives way surprisingly easily, and the door swings open. And as it does, something sort of swings out at you, and scrapes you right across the chest. And
I'm sorry, I attacked you with my machete.
Yeah. So,
No.
so as you sort of you fall back, you can blood sort of trickles down from the wound, and you can see that there is this is clearly like someone rigged up some kind of crude trap here to there's like a pitchfork that looks like its ends have been sharpened, and it was kind of positioned so that when the door was pulled open with enough force, it would kind of swing out.
Do the ends of a pitchfork need to be sharpened?
Well, that is a discussion you can have with the sharpener.
Right, yeah, I mean, Nicola will kind of like
My God, Mr. Saliba.
yells as he gets stabbed with a pitchfork.
Sure.
How
Janet's going to
wounded
kneel
am
down
I?
and instantly, just check your wound.
Yeah, so that's gonna be 1 point of health damage there, Kim. So as you inspect the wound, you can see that there is there's some kind of substance on the wound.
Like gel foam kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Doctor, get the fuck over here.
Time for my last
Jacob comes running over and says, Nicola, what happened? Let me see your wound, and I'll spend another point in medicine.
Okay, you don't need a point. You can see that there's that the wound is not shallow, but you wouldn't call it incredibly deep. It's definitely bleeding, but there is a thick yellow substance, in the wound.
Can I identify the substance?
Yeah, a quick sniff denotes that this is the familiar smell of nectar.
Oh God, he's gonna start touching people or killing them.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
no.
which.
Well, as soon as Nicholas smells it, he'll try to wipe it off, and he runs down to the edge of the water and tries to wash it out.
Yeah.
Sure, you throw the salt water into the wound and it stings, and perhaps a temporary sense of relief tries to drown out the impending sense of doom that you feel.
And that's when I just kill myself.
Sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nicola he'll wash it out as good as he can once he, I don't know, satisfied that he's hopefully washed out all the nick. Somewhat disheveled, mostly wet.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna look at the pitchfork while he washes himself off.
Yeah. So the ends of the pitchfork is very rusted, decrepit, except for the tips of the fork, which are filed down, and relatively unrusted. But you can see that all three of them are dripping with this, or I mean not dripping with, but covered in this thick yellow gel.
I mean, we don't know all that much about nectar, to be honest, but I'm a little surprised that this nectar lasted so long in here with this seemingly old contraption. I say to Jacob Rosbach.
Unless there is another way to get into this hut, perhaps, that somebody has been putting it on to the points without opening the door.
Or perhaps they trained a squirrel to go in and put a new coating of nectar on once a month.
Miss Rogers, I think you are a little hysterical after Nicola's injury. You may want to sit down.
But it's only because there's not squirrels here, right? Not because that's a crazy idea. Jacob's like, there's no squirrels in the Gulf of Siam. Yeah. Well, can we see into the hut at all without going in?
Yeah. So you can glance into the hut. You can see there is a back window which is smashed open. Inside are several hooks, which looks like they would be for holding equipment. But the only thing that is actually inside the hut that is not like plants that are growing inside it or just general refuse is the pitchfork. It seems like there would be hooks for tools and things, and there's
right.
But there are no tools or anything like that.
So I mused to Mr. Ruspech. Is this just the first of the booby traps that we are to come across on our way to the house?
It is hard to say. We must be very careful while we investigate this shelter. If Nicola is returned, Jacob's going to try to rip some fabric off from his shirt to make a bandage for Nicola's wound.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. You wanted to spend a point of medicine ones?
I was saying, I mean, if it's
actually,
required,
I think there's first aid, isn't it? Isn't there? There's first aid.
Yeah, there is.
I do have first aid as well. I can do that.
Yeah, so do a first aid roll.
Okay. So I also take a point out as well?
So no, so the roll you're trying to get above 4, and you can spend as many points to add to that roll as you want.
Right, you can spend 0 if you want to. It's just you're trained in that, so you get to make the roll. Sorry. Probably should.
Shouldn't have spent one.
Right.
I heal it so good that it's basically like it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, he wraps it up, he binds it securely, and
That's right, it never happened.
You move straight to third aid. It's so good.
Okay. All right, so Nicola's only slightly seems only slightly distracted, and the shed seems mostly empty.
So you said there were hooks. What is the
hooks along the wall? What's that? So it's a small shed. It's maybe 5 feet wide, and maybe 5 foot square. There are hooks along the walls. There's a small what looks like a work table. And there are like clearly places where tools and other things once hung or stood, but they're all empty.
Are there any drawers in the workbench?
No, it's not a workbench. It's just like a table.
Slab.
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the ground, is it just dirt, or is there a wood
It's
floor?
just dirt, and it's especially near the broken window. It's there's plants growing. It's like mostly.
Can I just for the hell of it, can I pull on each of the hooks?
Absolutely, yeah, sure. So you walk around the room, you sort of tug at the hooks. The only thing you really are able to discern is that some of the walls of this shed are quite ready to give way. A good tug would probably pull the hooks free, or that section of wall free from the other sections of the wall.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, I suggest we move on. We shouldn't waste time.
I say I don't understand why would somebody put all the effort into rigging a trap for this
It's
useless hut.
Well, it wasn't useless, right? We opened it. I think they got exactly what they intended out of it. This is now just being used to harm. There's nothing.
And if this has truly been around for 10 years, then the production of nectar, the cultists have been involved with this island for perhaps a very long time.
Well, we already knew that.
Basically.
So, Jacob, you don't have to mention this to anybody else if you don't want to, but your eyes keep getting tugged back to the corpse, and it dawns on you that the wound on the corpse's chest is nearly in the same location as the wound on Nicola's chest.
Here we go.
But that man was 3 feet shorter. How strange.
3 feet shorter?
Just kidding.
It's like a lot. It's a lot to be shorter than
Turns
someone
out.
else.
I'm kidding.
A child soldier.
Well, I don't know if Jacob's going to mention that to us or
Oh,
not.
no, sorry. I thought he said Janet noticed that. That's no. Jacob would not mention that. It
No
seems
reason
like
to
a
cause a
terrible,
panic.
A terrible thing to mention.
terrible thing to mention.
Okay.
Jacob will go and say a prayer over the body, and
Over
I don't know. Is there
Nico's
like
body? He's not
matches?
dead yet. My God.
I thought we're
You think
burning
of Joe.
that.
I knew what you meant. Yeah. All right. I say we move on after your prayer. We've
Okay.
Well,
all
somebody have matches. We got to burn the body, right? We're burning the body.
I don't think that's a good idea at this point
Why not?
because the fire could attract unwanted attention.
So I will just say, regardless of your guys' decision, it doesn't look like it's going to be very easy to actually burn this body, given that it's wet and the jungle's wet and you don't have any dry wood. I mean, it's not like you can just take a match and like hold it up to the body and it will ignite.
I don't think we should spend the time trying.
And it's got like a point of preparedness, which means she brought a funeral pyre with her.
You bought a Viking longboat.
I got 2 points of preparedness. My lighter.
I bought a
and
longboat
a
and
gallon
like
of gasoline.
2 guys with flaming arrows who just look really, really on the money. No,
Okay.
I say we deal with whatever attempts we want to make with dealing with this body on our way back to the boat.
Okay. See what that gets you when the mouth has eaten our boat.
Okay, so tell me what you guys next intended destination is, and then we will take a quick break.
So in and out of character, I'm very curious about the ship, but I think the mansion is kind of why we came. So I'm not sure that Janet is super in favor of like a wander through the jungle to find the ship. I think maybe we should go after that building, which is where humans would be if they're here.
How far would we figure that the ship is?
Probably about a half mile away.
Like it's along the shore, right? I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, 10 minutes out of our way, 20 minutes out of our way.
Well, depending on how we get through the jungle.
I wouldn't underestimate how long. So the jungle is thick. The foliage and like the vines make traversing through it like a much more
it's not
time-consuming affair than.
But what's the shoreline like?
The shore. So the trees basically grow right up to the shore.
Yeah, our dock
like
was in a
drops
cul-de-sac
off 50
disappears into the forest, I think.
No, I mean you could swim. That's an option. Yeah, I had the picture of the shoreline.
It seems more likely that there would be like a trail that went to the mansion if indeed somebody had been on the island.
I'd rather try and find if there's any like at all remnants of like a beaten path to the house.
So right. So like as you stand in front of the shack, it is apparent to you that there was once a road or a path, but it's almost immediately like you can tell that like where this path was led directly into the towards the center of the island, but no more than maybe 20 or 50 feet later, it is completely indistinguishable from the rest of the jungle.
Does anybody have any tracking skills?
There isn't real. There's outdoorsmen, which is probably the closest thing, and I don't think any of us have it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every. I don't know why there's a number in my outdoorsman, but I definitely don't. Pretty much every skill we talked about wanting tonight, Richard Sterling used to have.
Given that we've already encountered one booby trap, it would seem that the ship might have even more, and it may be safer to go straight for the mansion.
Well, that's kind of my point. There may be booby traps on the way to the mansion too, but like, I feel like the ship is almost like bonus if we have the time or safety to get there, right? The mansion is where I want to make sure we get.
Let's go to the mansion.
Okay, cool. All right, so you guys, stride boldly into the jungle, in the direction that you determine the mansion to be, and we'll take a quick break. So you guys trek directly into the jungle. Who is sort of leading the way, and what's your strategy here? Who's navigating?
Well,
I don't know if Nicola is necessarily qualified to do so, but he.
Yeah, I mean, is Jacob? I mean, just because Jacob's lived in the area, I don't want to assume that he's like a good outdoorsman. But I mean, do you have any experience like walking through Siamese jungle?
Well, he kind of lived in the city, or
No,
didn't
that's
really live
fair.
on this
That's
island.
fair. That's fair. I didn't mean this island. I don't know. Maybe you've been out in the wilderness a bit. Just wondering.
Yeah,
No,
the-
Drove
out of
Jacob,
past the wilderness once in a car.
Out of the three of us, it might be Nicola who's most used to dirty work. He'll kind of
Yeah.
go in front, trying
Right.
his best to look out for, I don't know, pitchforks, dangling here.
Little dangly.
Yeah, so how does the sense danger thing work? Can he or we or can you do that like preemptively? Like I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to look.
Oh yeah, no.
Actually, I'm literally on that page in the book in front of me.
Sure.
oh,
I didn't realize that.
I think it's preemptive. I don't think sense danger is a general skill, right? Not an investigative skill.
Yeah, it's something you roll for, but that's why I was wondering. I didn't know if it was like
Sense trouble.
I didn't know if it was like sense trouble. I didn't know if it was like, hey, we're about to go into the jungle. I want to sense trouble for the next however long you'll let it roll, or if it's like you tell us, why don't you give me a sense trouble roll at this moment to see if you do or don't notice something.
Right. I will try to prompt you guys. I probably should have prompted Kim to give me a sense trouble roll before you open that door, but
It's fine. It seems like
Listen.
it's the latter a little bit from the description here. It's kind of like if you see the thing, you don't get attacked. If you don't see it, you do get
It
attacked.
has to be, otherwise, like,
Right.
constantly. Like, I
just-
always want to
sense
sense trouble.
No, but
Every
I mean,
hour
this is
on the hour.
this is the situation where like fiction wise we would like you just said it right, you're gonna be like I'm walking along the path looking for danger. It might be the case that the rules say okay, if you're literally doing that then you could roll, right? Because then you use up your points. It's not like
I think it's more
Okay.
like a dodge.
a situation.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you begin trekking through the jungle. It's hot. The jungle is steamy. And
Yeah, it is.
a light rain sort of falls, pattering on the canopy overhead. But it is surprisingly not refreshing. It just kind of makes you a little bit soggier than you already were, and it's so humid. So you continue to sort of trek inland. Every once in a while, you catch a hint of what you think must have been the path, or maybe even a road at one point. But it's not like you're able to follow it, other than like where it probably crosses paths with what you're just where you're walking.
Can I say again, I don't know if you'd want us to roll for it. Can I do some version of leaving breadcrumbs here? Can I like
Sure. Tell me what that version is.
So like the little scraps of path will help, but maybe in between them, right? Like if I see it's been like 100 feet in between them or whatever, I will take a little tear of fabric from my sleeve and like, stick it on a thorn.
Raw. If it's that overgrown that we can't like tell where the road is more than like every 100 yards or so, we're probably cutting our way through the underbrush. Imagine we're leaving
I think
like
we'll just follow our path.
fairly
Yeah.
distinct trail of like cut branches and bushes.
That's
and stuff
fair.
like that.
That's fair.
So I will give you a. I don't even know if sense trouble is the right thing here, but I'll give it to you sense trouble because why not? Kim, if you want to do sense trouble roll.
Sends the shit out of this trouble.
Sensing troubles for pussies. Take it on.
5.
Okay. So as you sort of pick your way through the jungle, you're acutely aware of any sort of rusted blades or pointy objects which might be overhead or in a swinging position. And you notice that lodged in the side of a tree is what looks like an old machete.
Okay.
Lodged in the tree, like blade first, or like about
Blade
to
first,
swing
yeah.
down.
And in fact, as you look at it, you can see that clearly the tree trunk has like grown around it, because it is lodged nearly to the backside of the blade.
So this was maybe swung once at a person who tripped a wire or something like that?
So you're saying the tree has almost swallowed the whole.
From the blade side to the back side, it's almost grown that much. So depending on how deep it was buried to begin with, it has grown some amount. It seems unlikely that you would bury a blade that deep in the initial swing.
It would have to be like years old, though.
Maybe 10 years old.
That's how old the car was.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
But it's not attached to anything. It doesn't look like it was part of some booby trap. It's just somebody must have like swung this at a tree, or like it got lodged there.
Yeah, so it's about shoulder height. You don't see any other mechanisms around. It just appears to be a machete.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll point it out to the others,
Blade.
and say we must be on a path somebody else was on. So hope that it's
Someone else was here once, so that's nice.
Well, we
There's
haven't heard
not,
anything good about anything that happened to somebody else here.
Well, like take a minute to look around. There's no
Yeah.
like body remnants.
So you search on the ground for a minute, and you're able to find just a couple of screws, or I guess screws is the wrong word, but you find like what remains of the handle, which is so the blade. As you look at it, is just literally the metal part, and as you search the ground beneath it, you can find what would look like would be the fasteners that would fasten the wooden
Okay.
or whatever else.
Sure. Yeah.
To
So
the
the
half of it.
handle presumably like rotted away or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
you don't find
it's-
anything else.
In maybe a few weeks at least. All right. Well, let's forge ahead.
Okay. So you continue on, and you uphill, and after a few several hours of hacking through the jungle, you're hot, you're sweaty, but you see what looks to be a small clearing ahead of you. In the clearing up on the hill, you can see what appears to be, I guess, a structure would be the wrong word. There is what looks like it was at one time, maybe recently, a bonfire. There are clearly several pits dug in the ground, and several makeshift benches near the bonfire.
So you mean just like the ash and burn of what was a bonfire?
No, I mean there are still like charred sticks. You know.
And it looks more recent.
It's hard to tell with charred sticks.
And I should have taken a lot of outdoorsmen knowing we were going into a jungle.
I just so happen to have a point in charred sticks.
I'm
What are
not
these
sure.
pits exactly when you say?
So are you guys? So so I will say this as well. As you enter this clearing, you can also see ahead of you, maybe a half mile away, is the mansion up on the hillside.
Okay, this is going to be a super stretch because I'm not sure that we have this information. So you could just say no. But does anything about this layout harken to mind the many descriptions that Janet has read of so what I'm looking for, the like ceremony that took place outside the barn 10 years ago that her father stopped?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
But again, these pits. What's
So you guys, I assume you are like in the tree line near this this clearing, and you see this, and I assume you stopped. You guys want to just like walk up, and
Well, Jacob's asking about the pits.
that's why I'm asked. That's why I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
so
I mean,
we can't really tell about them from where we are. Is what you're saying?
No. So it looks like there. So Kim, you're muted if you're.
Am I?
Oh no, you weren't. Okay,
You
I
weren't.
looked like you were saying something, but
Yeah, well, so I was gonna ask if we can see the house from here. Can we kind of check it out with the binoculars
the
again?
binoculars again.
Yeah.
Just to, I don't know, see if there's anybody up there. If it
Is
looks as
there somebody in
decrepit
their
as the
window
rest of
looking at us with binoculars?
Looking directly at you.
Like shit.
As you stare at the house, you can see that there is a so it's clearly a mansion. It's clearly in some state of disrepair, but it looks like it's mostly stone. So doesn't really go into disrepair that fast. On the top floor, on a balcony, you can see a woman standing in like some sort of traditional Thai garb. Her hair appears to be white, and she appears to just be standing at the railing, perhaps looking out.
I
At
think
the
we
jungle.
found our Sirican.
Is she's looking out at us, or is she just kind of staring off
Let's
into
see
the?
here. I feel like there's an opportunity for a spend here, but I'm not sure what it would be.
Fucking outdoorsman is what it would be.
Yeah, maybe.
Is it some kind of like perception thing? Is there even?
Yeah. It's not
Is
really
there-
a perception
is there notice
skill.
in this game? No, there's not in this one, right? Well, I mean, there's stealth, right? Like, can you roll stealth to see if you've been noticed?
Stealth might be the most. Yeah, sure. I think that's fine if you want to do that.
I don't know if anybody has stealth. It was just
I have a bunch of points. Myself.
So yeah, I mean, you're the one taking the look anyway. Why don't you see if you've been noticed?
So you want me to roll?
Yeah, I would say roll a stealth.
Sounds good.
That's a good roll.
Come my ghillie suit
So,
on, and I look like a tree. Become
So
one
Nick,
with the force.
no. So I know in the book it specifically does say that stealth rolls are what you would use to determine if somebody else was trying to sneak around.
Oh, okay,
but
awesome.
It is also a notice skill, but it's sort of like it opposes itself, right? It's stealth
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
opposite of stealth. Anyways, not too important right now. Nicola, you notice as you make a careful study of the figure, and you are able to determine without a doubt that this figure has not seen you. And the way that you are able to determine that is that as you study her, you notice that you're close enough and your eyesight is good enough. You're able to determine that her eyes are completely white. She's very clearly blind.
I was hoping she was dead.
I spent all
okay.
this time hiding behind this tree for nothing.
Well, but she can,
Well,
not for nothing.
the act is meaningless, but you give it meaning.
All right. Well, yeah, I will point out the lady to everybody and say I think she might mind.
But he forgets she's not deaf, and he just like screams that
She's like,
really
"Who's
loudly
that?"
across the clearing to us. Like she can't see
I
anything.
think she's blind. She can't see us.
She looks
okay.
looks the wrong direction.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, let's continue approaching then, but we still want to be kind of
She
stealthy, but-
the whole time that I'm looking at her, she just stands at the railing.
I mean,
I
so
see
like
that.
it's I wouldn't call it a storm, but it's definitely like a bit windy and drizzling, and it seems that she's just sort of standing there. You would say dramatically with her sarong kind of blowing in the wind, and her white hair kind of trailing out behind her.
So
Alright,
I say, listen, we knew there was a chance this wasn't uninhabited, but she may be blind, but she could easily not be alone. We should be very careful approaching the house.
I understand, but how does she get supplies? How does she survive? Nobody's come up this road in a decade.
Perhaps there is another way.
So I will just point out that although you can see the house and your binoculars are pretty good, I wouldn't give you the impression that you are on the approach to the house, other than
Right.
like you're still like at least like a couple hours away, just because of the extreme overgrowth of the jungle.
Right. I mean, we could be on what used to be a path, but she could have, another path cut directly to a different dock that she uses all the time that we don't know about, like
Turns out the other side of the island is like civilized.
a
There's a
beachfront
big town
resort.
there.
It's like a golf course mostly.
Walmart, like
Fuck.
Really, there's a water slide that goes from the mansion straight down to the water, and a water slide that comes back
Great.
Wait.
That'd be impossible.
up.
so. I guess Jacob will say, well, if she is here, then yes, maybe there are others. So going through this clearing, even though she is blind, it is possible someone else would see us if we are out in the open. Perhaps we should stay on the outside.
Right. I whisper a suggestion to my companion, and we each take out 3 guns.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So we'll kind of stick to the jungle, try to forge a path that is as hard as possible to notice from
Yeah. I mean, I
from
guess
the railing.
So you guys
that's
are not
not
gonna
exactly an easy thing to do.
you're
but-
not gonna investigate the pits and the.
Well, so we basically have to go past them to keep going on the path we were going on, right? Is that
No, I mean
right?
you could skirt around them on the tree line.
I
That's
say we
what
take
I
a
was
look.
suggestion.
Sorry?
No, yeah, skirting around the outside is what I was suggesting, but
Yeah, I mean, if we come close to them, we'll at least take a peek in.
Yeah.
Or like mouth.
I mean,
pits.
even if she can't see us, we don't necessarily want to stand exposed right in the middle of a clearing, but maybe we could go by on the side of one of the pits,
Sure.
Take a little,
So
little gander.
as you sort of get within maybe like 50 or 20 feet of the pits, you can see that they each have an iron grate on top of them.
this seems like the perfect mouth hole, and we should not go near it for the sake of our stability.
I look over the edge.
You wanna like step into the clearing and look inside?
Well, how far from the tree line is the closest pit?
I don't know, 30 feet.
30 feet? Wow. No, I'm definitely not going to do that.
Okay.
Except that I am.
I was like, wow, such restraint.
Yeah, I realized what I was saying. My God.
Yeah, so you step up to the pit and
But I do want to say I do this stealthily.
sure, give me a stealth roll.
wait for them to stay in the tree line, and I kind of like crouch and creep into the clearing.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll.
Yeah. So you can't. Do you take a penalty if you have no points in something?
Not with general abilities.
Not with general. Okay. Just a d6. It's a cinco.
Oh,
Oh, you guys are rolling good tonight.
We've also rolled a lot of 5s, like a lot of 5s.
Okay,
Fun-
so
fun
you step up to the edge of the pit and you look down inside. You can see that there are about 6 of these pits, just sort of haphazardly strewn about this clearing. As you look into the pit, you can see a figure in the bottom of it. The bottom of it is dirty. It's wet. It just appears
far
to
down?
be like a hole that has had an iron grate with a hatch in it, just like buried in it.
How far down?
Probably about 8 feet down.
And there's a figure.
Yeah, so there's a figure sort of in the bottom of the pit. It appears to be someone. They seem to be thin, without clothing, and as you are able to peer over the edge of the pit, you are immediately able to tell that they are sitting in a pile of or a pool of their own excrement.
They're
Okay,
alive.
I'm gonna pull my head back from the edge quietly
Sure.
and just give a glance around. Do I see anything of note now that I'm like more in the clearing, other than just these 6 grates?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you look near the bonfire, you can see what seems to be a large. There's like sort of. Let me look at your skills here.
Sure. No problem.
Do-do-do-do. Okay. There are like things drawn in the ground.
Near the bonfire?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to try and like just slide over quietly and look at them.
Sure. Okay.
We're doomed.
What do they look like?
They're just like weird circles and scratchings in the earth.
So I haven't seen anything like that before.
Nope.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull back to the tree line.
I mean, I think there's an opportunity for a spend, but I don't think you have any of the skills.
Oh well, yeah, I didn't offer to spend anything because I assumed that's why you weren't telling me.
Sure.
It. Yeah, I mean, so just as a brief aside, I took a lot of stuff that was kind of like geared towards the idea that Janet Winston Rogers has been studying all this junk for a while, like
Okay.
all the shit that these people have been investigating. But I didn't take any Cthulhu mythos, if that's what we're looking for, because I wasn't really sure if that's like something that I can just take like that.
It is, but you don't have to.
Okay, right, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull back to the edge of the tree line and obviously tell these guys about the person in the pit. But if it's possible, I'm gonna make like a quick jot in the dirt of a couple of the symbols and see if it means anything to my companions.
Okay.
Jacob says, there is a person in the pit? Is he alive? We must help him.
I say, no, they're clearly dead. Let's not worry about it. We've got to get to the house. But what about these symbols?
Would Jacob happen to recognize them from when his daughter was scratching symbols in the ground?
So I don't think Jacob. So there's an opportunity for a spend here. You can either spend Cthulhu or occult, but no, you don't. You don't recognize them.
Okay.
Well, so I almost don't want to ask this because maybe it's not fair, or maybe it's just so far off the track that whatever. Having been privy to the notes of Damon Smoke that he meticulously
Sure.
took, do these look at all familiar to me in relation to the like totems that were seen in the Yucatan?
No, I would say deep consultation of Damon's notes. You've been reading through them, perhaps. They remind you of something he sketched down that he saw in LA.
In LA, in the cave underneath LA, like when we were walking to behead Smiley Face Lady.
That was Mexico City, but yeah.
Was it? Oh yeah, it was. So wait, what did we see in LA?
So you remember there was a similar ritual circle in the library of Samson Trammell.
Okay, right. So I feel like, as you said, I've poured through his notes, but this is all like academic to me and kind of means nothing to these two guys. So I'm
but I will say that realization has brought it from something that was written down on a page to something that is now immediately in front of you, and that realization sort of tears at your psyche. So you need to make a stability.
I'm sorry, Dave. What was that?
Stability.
Can you be the official crier of what rolls we need to make?
Dave is like that little guy in Mortal Kombat that comes out on the side of the screen and goes, whoopsie!
Oh man, the good rolling kind of went downhill right when it needed to find.
So you're going to take 2 stability damage.
It's always on stability that the dice falter.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, me too, which is why I gave Janet Winston Rogers a pretty low amount of stability.
Great.
Like a really low amount of stability and sanity, because I felt like not only has she been studying all this shit for years, but she's kind of already like semi-entrenched in it. So she should start off at a disadvantage.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. So what is Janet Winston Rogers' reaction?
So Janet, so I'm gonna backtrack just a second. Having kind of thought about this and realized it as she's like walking towards her companions, and sort of staggering under the weight of what that means. She like starts to draw it in the dirt and realizes like she can't. Her hand is shaking. She's getting like really nervous, and she says, I think we'd better get going."
What did you see? What is out there?
It's nothing that we could do anything about. That's all. I say we move on to the mansion as quickly as we can. Get this done.
What is Nicola doing?
Very shaken by what you saw. Is there something that would endanger us?
I say, my dear Mr. Ruspech, if you were under any illusions that anything here would not be a danger to us, then that's exactly what they were. They were all illusions. Because we're in a shit fuck ton of danger.
Eloquently said.
Let's get going.
Riveting speed.
We've never been in worse situations before.
We're literally all gonna die.
Yeah, the three of us are brand new to these terrible situations. This is the worst one we've had.
That might be true.
So I say we just move on, try and
So
get
let's
this done, and
go to
and
our
back
doom,
to dear
get it
Mr.
over
Kern's
with.
napping in the boat.
So Jacob, you hear a low wail kind of slowly emit from one of the pits.
I
That was probably just the
asked-
wind. Let's get going.
See, when the wind rushes over the top of the pit at just the right angle, it makes this like whoo sound. Yeah, that's all that was. Very bad.
Ask Nicola, did you hear something?
I'm afraid to say I did. You said, Miss Rogers, that the person you saw in the pit was dead?
Yes. Metaphorically, because they're going to die soon, and we can't do anything about it.
I'm not sure that's what a metaphor is.
For all intents and purposes, that person is dead. This is rescuing people from those pits is beyond dangerous and exposing, and just not what we're here to do, gentlemen.
But what is it we are here to do if not to help save lives?
We can't save lives one at a time like this. We're going for the big picture here, Mr. Ruspech. This is not about aiding one or two poor lost souls. This is about combating forces that have been driving men insane and to their deaths for decades. There's no time for these sick souls.
I cannot put the cost of one against the cost of many. I feel an obligation to try and help this person if he is still alive, and besides which these people could have valuable information in regards to our journey towards this mansion.
Janet smacks him and says, "Damn it, man."
So it reminds me of another character right now.
Say,
Well, but I had to. I wanted to say that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but Janet wouldn't say that.
Miss Rogers, please. He is right. We don't know anything about this island. People might be able to help.
You fools! If we're caught, the time it would take, the noise it would make. What in the world is wrong with you? We're here on a mission
Perhaps
to see
you should
that
have
woman.
thought about that
You said-
before you went
you
into the
said-
clearing.
That Janet picked up a bunch of adventuring supplies, right? So she's probably got like 100 feet of hemp rope and a 10-foot pole.
I don't know. Why don't you use preparation, Janet? If you want to.
She
Nope,
said
no
she
rope.
went to the store for adventuring supplies. That's like
Yeah, what-
Yeah, sorry, I
numbers
forgot.
1 and
that,
2 on every adventure list.
I forgot that. Yeah, I left it all on the boat. We have nothing we can rescue these guys with.
Right, well, too bad we're not
Shut.
forest.
Well,
full of trees.
Nicola could have. Does Nicola have preparation? Preparedness?
I have 2
Are there
points of
vines?
preparedness, and I would like 2 ladders. No, but I mean, we're in a forest, right? Presumably, maybe we can find some vines or something that we could use as kind of makeshift rope, or I don't know, a long branch, tree trunk.
Sorry, what's the rope for? I'm a little confused.
I mean,
You know,
well,
so these people can climb to the roof of their hole and dream that if we could get their giant metal grate off, that they would be free.
I am sure that Nicola and I can lift these grates.
But again, you're not thinking of how loud that would be, and you don't know that we can trust these people.
How would it be loud?
You traipsing into the jungle and trying to lift a heavy metal grate off of a hole in the ground? I think that would be...
Miss Winston Rogers, you have already exposed us and our location to anybody by going into the clearing.
But I did it stealthily.
Kevin, you said it was like raining slightly and it's kind of windy.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It's not like it's dead quiet.
That's true.
We shall lift the grate stealthily, how you say?
Oh, let's just get it over with. Go with me, Jacob.
Fine,
Does it-
I take the binocular from Nicola and I use it to look out while they sneak into the clearing.
Okay. All right. So you guys sneak into the clearing. You can see, as you peer into the grate, you can see this figure, sort of crouched in the bottom of this pit, this like muddy hole in the ground. They're a pitiful sight, and as soon as you near the
Really?
pit, the smell is overwhelming. What?
Really? They're a pitiful sight.
Oh,
Come on.
yeah, they are. Stand by it.
So yeah, so this grate, can we get it off?
Yeah, could 2 of us lift it?
So there is a there's like a door in the grate, for lack of a better term, a hatch. But it the grate itself is buried like under, buried in the ground basically, right? Like the edge of the pit
Okay.
goes down maybe like half a foot before the grate is.
Can we
Can
open this hatch
open?
then?
So it looks like it's locked.
Kind of lock.
A padlock.
Can I try to break it? I have locksmith.
Sorry. Yeah, a padlock is the one with the key, right?
Well, yeah, it
Okay.
could be. Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
Anyways, yeah, sure. You can try to break it. I mean, locksmith is a points investigative or
Technical ability. I think I might just
yeah. Okay.
I
spend
think
a
you just
point.
spent a point.
Yeah, you can just spend a point then. That's fine.
I spent a point in locksmith. I've seen a million of these.
Yeah. So you're able to crack the lock pretty quickly. As you hold off on your point spend just a second. As you crawl up down onto the grate, the figure clearly notices your presence. They don't turn to look at you, but they begin speaking in what you assume is Thai.
well, is it Ty?
It is
I'm
Ty.
here. It
Yeah.
is Ty.
So he begins like muttering things under his breath. Something about like how he couldn't have seen what was going to happen, how he wished you could just, he wished you could just make out how to get out of here. It's too soon. It's too soon. You don't want to be hunted. You can't. You don't think you can make it.
I'll kind of in a low kind of whisper, like, "Psst, hello, can you hear me? Are you okay? Are you well? I don't want to say okay, but are you
okay.
able to? Yeah, are you able to stand?
Do you need assistance?
So
Rescue you.
the figure like slowly turns around, and you can see that he has a gash across his face, across both his eyes, and where the split where his pupils would be are along this scar are like these long needle-like teeth that make his eyes into more or less tiny little mouths.
Wait, so is it two little mouths or like one big mouth in the?
So the scar goes all the way across, but both of his eyes are little mouths.
Totally, regardless of the little cut. It's just that he's got a cut on his face, but his eyes are mouths.
Regardless, you're not sure if regardless is the right word, but yeah.
Regardless,
In addition to
the scar that goes across his both his eyes, which clearly have blinded him, both of his eyes are now little mouths.
yeah, this is gonna go great, guys.
In fact, the teeth are like so like needle-like that many of them seem to protrude at like odd angles. Many of them seem to protrude into his skin on the opposite side of his eye.
Does he respond to me?
So I think that's a stability check, by the way.
No, please. We've seen these. This is like the fifth.
Do it, motherfuckers. While they're doing that, I'm gonna be watching the tree line, but especially that woman to see if she stirs at all from the binoculars. Just as an FYI.
So as soon as the figure turns to you, he begins like shouting at the top of his lungs.
I knew that's exactly what I warned you guys was gonna happen. These guys are gonna like invasion of the body snatchers us and just start like calling out that we're here. I knew this fucking shit was gonna happen.
I'll kind of like, sir, please keep your voice down. We're trying to help you.
I was gonna tell you to bring a gun with you to shoot him in case he started yelling, but I thought that would make more noise.
We have 3 guns on us.
Okay, so
you just like drop a machete right down on his head.
Okay, so you're saying what to him?
Well, I mean, originally I asked him if he was, able to stand, and now I'm telling him to shut the fuck up.
All right. And
what is he? I mean, also, how much stability am I losing?
Oh yeah, right.
I rolled. I don't know if Kim rolled.
Nicola, did you roll for your stability?
Oh, sorry, no.
So you're gonna lose 2, Jacob.
Okay.
6.
And Nicola's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you were saying what to him?
I'm telling him to be quiet. That we're trying to help him, and that
I don't have any of your skills, Dave, so I don't know if you have anything that would help you. Show him.
I have reassurance and bargaining.
I don't know if intimidation's better here.
I think reassurance would work.
Oh, okay.
Reassurance.
Yeah, I can spend a point in reassurance.
Okay, sure. All right. So, you begin, saying comforting things to him as a man of the cloth should be able to. In this man who clearly is in some kind of crisis, maybe not unreasonably, and he begins, his shouts sink to a low murmur. But Nicola, as you look back up the mansion, you can see that the figure has disappeared from the balcony.
Say,
did I see her go?
We should
No.
We should perhaps get this man out quickly. get back to the safety of the forest.
You also begin to hear, maybe not shouts, but voices coming from some of the other pits nearby.
How many pits are there?
There's 6 pits in total.
You guys turn around and Janet's already back at the boat, sailing away.
It would seem we have work cut out for us. Let us move quickly.
Okay, so what are you trying to do here?
Well, we've cracked the lock. Do we have
Sure,
a vine?
yeah. So Nicola gets down. A few minutes. His trembling hands click the lock open, and it slides out. And you can, you can sort of pull the grate up.
Okay, we do that.
Okay.
Do we have? We were going to get a vine from the forest or something.
Yeah, sure, fine. Okay, yeah.
What are we gonna do with this guy? I don't
So
understand.
you can just sort of reach your hand down and grab him and pull him out. I mean, like he'll grab your hand and you can pull him out. He's covered in feces and mud. He has no clothes. He comes out. He's like shivering, and you can see his feet look in terrible shape.
All right, why don't we get?
His feet are like bloated and swollen.
Yeah, I say to Jacob, I say, perhaps we can let us take him back to the tree line and see what we can get out of him. Then we'll make a plan for the rest of these souls.
Okay. If the rest are in as bad shape as him, perhaps it is indeed a lost cause. Let's go. Got it.
Okay, so you pull him back to the tree line. All the while, he's sort of babbling something like, "I should have seen them. I should have seen it coming."
Tell me, tell me, sir. So what should you have seen?
He like sort of slowly looks up at you, and the mouth on his left eye kind of like the mouth opens very slightly in it, and it like makes like a small noise at you.
Has anybody taken interesting notes on the speech patterns of these mouths? Do we have any?
Interesting
No.
topic, but maybe for another time.
Huh.
Do you want to try to pay attention to it? You
Sure.
could perhaps try to learn its language.
I would love to.
No.
Do we have time for this?
Careful.
It's okay.
Slippery
We're almost near
slope.
the end, so Dave has a whole week to roll a new character.
Don't.
Yeah. So what are you doing?
I mean,
So I will say, if you want, you can try to listen close. It won't like kill you immediately.
I don't like.
It'll be
Yeah.
an interesting trade.
The operative word there being immediately.
So yeah, I will say as the mouth sort of opens and closes, it almost seems like it kind of makes a sort of sense to you. Do you want to try to listen in and see what it's?
Oh,
trying to tell you?
Jacob. We hardly knew ye.
Think of your daughter.
Well, I mean, nobody else is telling me otherwise. Like.
Did you not see
Well-
me immediately try and machete the last mouth we came in contact with?
I mean, I guess this guy is speaking in Siamese, right?
He's not
yeah,
really
as
speaking
far as
at
you can
all.
tell.
Yes, like he's just saying, he's murmuring. So I mean, I guess I'll ignore the mouth speak for now because it's not.
Don't do it, Jacob. There's secrets to be learned.
Don't do it, Jacob. We don't care about them. We should have saved this guy.
and-
Who knows what forbidden knowledge could be gleaned from
You
this
you jump off whatever cliffs you need to jump off of.
creature.
I'll
You already
I'll
jumped
ask
off
him.
of the,
I'll ask him again. Who put you in the pit? Who brought you here?
He turns his head like directly towards you, and both the mouths like open and begin like babbling. He says the hunter, she comes in the night.
I say, it's. Have you guys reached the tree line yet? I assume.
Yeah.
I say we must put this man out of his misery and move on.
Say
The babbling of the mouths like sort of batters against your ears, Jacob. you're either going to need to like remove yourself or him from the situation, or like you think it's gonna you're sort of straining yourself against understanding it. You're like trying to block it out, but like it's like a thought that you try not to think about. It just like keeps coming back up.
Jacob kind of puts his head against his hand and kind of is kind of having trouble staying upright and is saying we need to try to help this person.
So all of a sudden, like
it's too late for him, Jacob.
Just a little bit clearer, Jacob. Like something inside you just shifts just enough that like all these things that didn't make any sense slowly start to line up just a little bit. So you are going to gain 1 point of the Cthulhu Mythos skill, which necessarily means that you also lose a point of sanity.
Okay.
Slippery slope.
Janet Winston Rogers is going to swing her machete.
Okay. So I will you can just spend 1 point of what is it, melee or weapons?
There's
weapons.
I think
Yeah, you can spend a single point. And Jacob, just as like this like everything slowly kind of slides and all the loose ends just seem a little bit neater to you in the most horrifying way, your face splatters with something wet, and you realize that Janet Winston Rogers has lodged her machete directly in the man's skull.
I kind of collapse and like fall down as the kind of incessant like chattering that was going on in Jacob's skull kind of slowly begins to recede.
It's too late for him, Jacob. Too late for all of them.
it might be too late for us now. And I point urgently to the balcony where the woman no longer stands.
Say, fair enough. Let's get on with it then.
So you can see that it's well past noon at this point. It's not quite dusk yet, but it's quickly approaching. And you guys want to continue up towards the mansion?
Yeah.
Away from this place. You can, as the commotion has unfolded, you can hear, voices from the other pits. Jacob, you can hear cries for help, shouts, just plain sobbing.
Jacob is kind of not in a position. He's too worn down and is basically just following the others at this point and trying to collect his what is left of any sanity.
Nicola will just kind of hold Jacob's arm and kind of drag him away from the pits. He looks a little shaken.
Yeah, he does. Okay, so you guys sort of trek your way back into the forest towards the mansion. Why don't you give us? I think we know Jacob's state, but JWR and Nicola, would you give me a final look of your character as we close up the session here? What's their demeanor?
I think for Nicola, it's a lot more grim. Coming to the island, he kind of thought that they were just gonna find an abandoned hideout, and I don't know, that would be it. But now it looks like there's some real garbage going on in the place. So I know the shit's hit the fan and it's everywhere.
All right,
it is everywhere, especially in the pits. Janet is like pretty bedraggled, right? Like she's got a little bit of toughness to her. Her companions can tell, but at the same time, even on the boat and up until they got in the jungle, she was still wearing some pretty nice clothes. Her hair was all right. Now it's like destroyed from the humidity. Her clothes are ripping, and the look of like determination but fear on her face as she knows that rescuing that man from the pit may have done more harm than good. Having to bury her machete in a man's skull is not exactly where she was hoping that this would go, but she's ready to move on.
Yeah, I think that'll require a stability check, but we're not going to do that this week. We'll save that for next week. we will the camera will zoom out on your characters as they trek the final half mile, so close but so far, up to the mansion. As night begins to fall, we will leave it there until next week. This has been Live from Beyond, Eternal Lies, The Gulf of Siam, and several more titles, should I think of them. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, come check out our twitch.tv channel. We stream live every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern. And if you're watching us live on Twitch, come check out our YouTube channel. We've got all our old episodes, including the back catalog of Eternal Lies. Thanks, guys, for playing. I thought it was a good session, and we will pick it up again next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, and have a good night.